My fellow Americans, I'm Ambassador Ken Howery, and I'm very pleased to speak with you today about the global pandemic that has affected us all in some way. I sincerely hope you're all doing well, despite the serious and unprecedented challenges we are facing because of the coronavirus. As I mentioned in my message to you about a week ago, the safety and security of all U.S. citizens remain and will always be the U.S. government's top priority. Of course, we've all been following the news about coronavirus in the United States, in Sweden, and the rest of the world. But rest assured that President Trump and our coronavirus task force in Washington are working diligently with federal, state, and local government partners to monitor, prevent, contain, and mitigate the spread of coronavirus back home. Here in Sweden, my team and I are in regular contact with the Swedish authorities and are monitoring the situation carefully. In the event of any significant developments, we will make sure that information gets to you as soon as possible. I can also give you my personal pledge that the U.S. Embassy, that is your embassy, in Stockholm will do whatever we can to continue providing top quality consular services to you and our fellow Americans in this difficult time. Right now, we're at minimum staffing levels at the embassy in keeping with U.S. and Swedish official guidelines to practice social distancing. It's critical that we all do our part to flatten the curve, so most of the embassy staff is telecommuting. We have also divided the staff into 2 teams that alternate weeks to try to keep any infections from affecting the entire team at once. But I want to assure you, the embassy remains open for business and working for the American people. You may have seen reports that Americans stranded overseas who are seeking U.S. government assistance in order to get home. Since January 29th, 446 flights from 73 countries have repatriated approximately 44,000 U.S. citizens and residents to the United States. In the coming days, there are 80 more flights scheduled for more than 9,000 passengers. It's a slow process, but America's diplomats are getting it done. We are lucky to be in Sweden, where commercial flights are still operating. But transportation in and out of Sweden is increasingly uncertain. It is absolutely imperative that if you think you might want to ride this crisis out stateside, that you book a flight back to the United States immediately. If you are not able to do that, please contact us. The State Department has warned citizens abroad that it may not be able to assist with repatriation in a few weeks due to the increasingly strict border closures and scarce resources. Please do not wait any longer to make such a decision. Because of the crisis, all embassies worldwide are issuing only emergency visas to non-Americans. But our amazing consular team continues to process passport applications, register the births of our newest citizens born here in Sweden, notarize documents, and issue emergency passports, Monday through Friday, each and every week. We've also expanded communication through our daily COVID-19 update, answering your questions via our website, email, and telephone. And we've introduced new initiatives like today's virtual town hall. For more information on our services, please visit our website at se.usembassy.gov and look under U.S. Citizen Services. Or you can send us an email at stkacsinfo@state.gov. We really do want to hear from you, and I very much appreciate the invaluable feedback many of you have already sent on how we can improve our services to better serve you. And by the way, we are listening to your suggestions. And for that reason, we'll soon be announcing the introduction of online fee payments for mail-in passport renewals. Please be on the lookout for our upcoming announcement. Before I turn this over to our consular experts, I want to thank you for your patience, resilience, and understanding as we adjust to the new realities of COVID-19. I'm proud to be your ambassador, and I've enjoyed meeting with so many of you during my travels throughout Sweden. And I'm looking forward to the time when I'll be able to resume meeting with you and our other fellow Americans face to face. In the meantime, please stay healthy, stay strong, and stay in touch. Thank you so much for your attention. And now, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. John Robbins, our Consular Section's American Citizens Services Chief. John will be responding to some of the questions we received in our consular mailbox, but I also encourage you to type any other questions you might have during this live stream in the comment section below. We have other consular experts waiting to answer your questions. If we can't get to them all, I promise you that we'll do our best to have an answer for you as soon as possible. So without further ado, I pass the floor to John Robbins.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, and thank you to everybody who's joining us today. As the Ambassador said, my name is John Robbins, and I'm the American Citizens Services Chief here at the Embassy. It is our team's mission here to provide information and assistance to U.S. citizens living in Sweden, especially in uncertain times like these. As the Ambassador mentioned, your safety and security is always our #1 priority. We've had a lot of questions submitted to us, so we've got a lot to go over, and we're going to start with some of the ones that we thought were most important to our fellow citizens. As we go, please feel free to submit any additional questions that may come to mind in the comments section. We have members of our team online right now who will try to answer them during today's session. If we can't get to them immediately, we will include your question and our answer on an updated FAQ that will go on our website along with a video of today's virtual town hall. Also, please be careful to not include any personal information that you would not want visible to anybody watching. These personal questions can be emailed to us at stkacsinfo@state.gov, and our consular experts will be glad to assist you as soon as possible. So as I said, we have a lot to go over, and we're going to jump right in. The first question, and one of the more common ones, is how do I get these email alerts from the U.S. Embassy? So our email updates are sent to all travelers who are enrolled in our Smart Traveler Enrollment Program, aka STEP. U.S. citizens can visit step.state.gov to enroll and receive these alerts and make it easier to locate you in the event of an emergency. You can also check out our website for Sweden-specific information, including our alert messages related to the coronavirus at se.usembassy.gov. The next question has to do with the presidential proclamation and travel to the United States. My kids and I have U.S. citizenship, but my partner does not. Will she be viewed differently under the current immigration policy when we travel back to the United States? So, U.S. citizens, legal permanent residents or green card holders, and their immediate family members are not subject to the presidential proclamation that restricts entry into the United States. That being said, all travelers who will depart from the Schengen area, which includes Sweden, within 14 days of their arrival in the United States are subject to enhanced screening upon their arrival. If you are symptomatic of COVID-19, you will be instructed to self-quarantine for 14 days. But if you are not symptomatic, if you are symptomatic, you will be referred to the CDC for medical evaluation and assistance. Again, if you are not symptomatic, you will be instructed to quarantine for 14 days. If you are symptomatic, you'll be assisted by the CDC. For more information on arrival procedures, you can visit our Department of Homeland Security website at www.dhs.gov. The next question is about registering birth abroad of American citizens. We're having our first child here within the next week or so. What are the steps in getting a birth registry and passport for our child right away? So first off, congratulations. Generally, for a child born abroad to be documented as a U.S. citizen, there's 3 essential requirements that must be fulfilled. 1, at least one of the parents has to be a U.S. citizen at the time of birth. 2, we need to establish that blood relationship between the US citizen parent and the child. And 3, we need documentary evidence demonstrating the US citizen parent's physical presence in the United States prior to that child's birth. The required documents are all listed on our website, but generally this will include your application for the consular report of birth abroad and passport completed ahead of time, the birth certificate for the child, any marriage or divorce documents if relevant, the identity and citizenship documents for parents, evidence of physical presence in the United States of that US parent, and any other situational documents that we have prepared on the website. However, right now, due to public health measures to limit the spread of COVID-19, we have modified our scheduling procedures for applicants. We are right now prioritizing cases for those US citizens with immediate travel needs or a need for identity documents to remain in status here in Sweden. If you believe your situation constitutes an emergency, please email us at stkacsinfo@state.gov. So we have another question here also about the record of birth abroad. We had a baby in mid-March and need to submit the required paperwork to register his birth, apply for his passport, and apply for their social security number. Is there any problem with the paperwork not being submitted shortly after his birth, as we hope to be able to travel when it's safe to do so? Good question. So parents can apply for a consular record of birth abroad at any time before the child turns 18. But we strongly recommend registering your child's birth within those first few years. If you do have immediate travel plans, please email us at that email address, and we can facilitate your child's travel documents as best as possible. The next question is, I was born in Sweden, but my parents never registered my citizenship when I was a child. How do I get my US passport if I never had one before? So if you are 18 years old or older and never been documented as a citizen, you can apply for your first passport with a form called DS-11. That's a passport application form. And your parents will need to complete the form DS-5507, or an affidavit of physical presence. All of these documents and the required submitted additional documents are also available on our website. So another frequent question: when will the embassy begin scheduling routine appointments again? Nobody's more anxious to help our fellow citizens than our consular team. We hope to resume our routine services as soon as possible, but we're unable to provide a specific date at this time. I want to stress to you, however, that our team is still here, hard at work, and ready and willing to help you. If you have any urgent needs or any emergencies, please do not hesitate to email us or contact us. Another question in the same line: when is the next time you'll be in Gothenburg for the consular days? Again, we hope to resume our consular days as well as our routine scheduling as soon as possible, but are unable to provide a date at this time. So this next question just changed within the past 24 hours. I plan on traveling this summer to the United States. Can I still submit my passport for mail-in renewal right now? So when we originally got this question, the answer was absolutely. We're still processing mail-in passport renewals. We are still processing them. However, the passport center in the US printing our passports has temporarily closed. So at this point, we cannot say for certain when your approved passport will arrive in Stockholm. If you're renewing a 10-year adult passport, you can still renew your appointment. You can still renew your passport by mail. We just can't guarantee when it will be here. In the event that your new passport isn't here by the time of your travel date, we can always get you a temporary emergency passport for your immediate and urgent travel. Visit our website at se.usembassy.gov, click US Citizen Services, and then Passport Services, and then Passport Renewal by Mail to see if you qualify for our mail-in renewal program. The next question is about virtual interviews. Is it possible to have an interview via Skype or Google Hangouts if the original documents and passports are sent as recommended letter to the embassy? Unfortunately, no. These virtual Hangouts are great for town halls and for conference meetings, but for security and privacy reasons, applications which require in-person interviews cannot be conducted via teleconference. So Are vulnerable populations required to attend in-person appointments? Yes. In-person appointments are still required for applicants that demand a personal appearance, such as the passport renewal of a minor. However, to limit your exposure to other individuals, we've taken a number of steps, such as reducing our office staff, enacting social distancing procedures, and adjusting our scheduling practices to make sure that there are minimal customers in the waiting room at any given time. A question on notaries that we've received from a few different individuals. I need to notarize a document to close on a house sale. Can I schedule a notary appointment at the embassy? Again, right now, we are prioritizing appointments for customers who have immediate travel or other emergencies. If you believe that this situation is an emergency, please email us at that email address and we'll work with you. The next question is about extending statuses here in Sweden. I have a question about the 90-day visiting limit for Americans in the Schengen area without a visa. My flight has been canceled. What should I do if I can't leave before my time is up? So we've been working on this, and we got in touch with the migration authorities here in Sweden. Swedish migration authorities have informed us that individuals who need to remain longer in Sweden should apply to extend their status before their status runs out. You can do this by visiting the Swedish Migration Board's website at migrationsverket.se. My colleagues should be spelling that out for you in the comments, as I'm sure I've mispronounced it. I should also mention that right now, commercial flights currently remain available for US citizens to transit through Germany or Amsterdam back to the United States. The next question is, what can the embassy do to help me get back to America? As I said, right now, commercial options are still available. Right now, there are no evacuation flights planned for Sweden, and if there were, this would only happen if commercial options were not available. Any plans to evacuate or any plans to provide evacuation flights would be messaged to our US citizens via those alerts from step.state.gov or also announced on our website. What will the embassy do if I cannot afford a ticket home? If you need to return to the United States and you are unable to obtain a seat on a plane via commercial options, please email us immediately at our email address that I've mentioned a number of times now. We do have something called a repatriation loan, but these could end up costing more than if a person would have made their own travel arrangements via available commercial options. The next question is another one that many people are curious about, and it has to do with taxes. I'm an American citizen working and living here in Stockholm. Since I pay Swedish taxes out of my salary, do I have to also pay or file taxes in America as well? So we can't provide you individual advice on your tax responsibilities in terms of payment, but all US citizens and resident aliens are subject to the Internal Revenue Service income filing tax rules on all worldwide income, no matter where you live or work. If you have any questions about your tax obligations, we encourage you to visit irs.gov or talk with a tax professional. And I think this is a question that everybody has been asking each other as well. Are US citizens living abroad eligible to receive economic payments that we see in the news? How do we get these payments? So yes, Congress has approved and the President has signed the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, or CARES Act, to provide additional emergency assistance to US citizens, which includes economic impact payments, temporary student loan relief, and other benefits. I want to clarify that the embassy does not play a direct role in dispersing these payments. For more information on the economic impact payments or your eligibility or how to receive them, please visit irs.gov/coronavirus. So the next question is about our health here in Sweden. What should I do if I think I'm sick? If you are sick, stay home. Do not go to the emergency room. Do not go to work. Do not go to the embassy unless you're instructed to do so by a medical authority. In Sweden, if you have general questions about coronavirus, you can always call 11313. If you do have symptoms that you believe may be in line with COVID-19, you can contact medical professionals at 1177, and they can walk you through your symptoms. If you're experiencing any life-threatening conditions, you should immediately call 112 for emergency services. So what about health services or insurance while I'm here in Sweden? Again, for any medical emergencies, always dial 112 before calling the embassy. If you're not having a medical emergency, but you have symptoms, possibly for coronavirus, again, you can always call 1177. But residents or visitors with permits for stays greater than 1 year, they may register with Skatteverket, and then once they're registered with a personal number, can inquire about local public health coverage. For visitors or tourists here for less than 1 year in Sweden, we recommend that you pursue private insurance or traveler's insurance. The embassy, though, cannot recommend any particular provider for you. The next question is, what happens if I were to become sick? I live in Sweden alone, and my nearest family is back in the United States. What procedures are in place to help facilitate communication to family in the US should I end up in the ICU and unable to let my family know that I'm severely sick? Well, first, we hope it never comes to this. But if you have a condition that you think might require hospitalization, the first thing you should do is to give your relatives, your friends, your family members, and even the embassy a heads up just to be on the safe side. It's a good idea to discuss your communications plan with your family and friends before the emergency happens. Talk to them right now. Agree on how frequently you guys will be in touch and agree by what media. If anybody does become concerned about a US citizen relative or friend who's living abroad, they can always email or call the embassy, or they can call the State Department in Washington, D.C. However, I want to make sure everybody understands that due to the Privacy Act, we may not be able to disclose any information about an individual without that individual's prior written consent or as authorized by law. The next question comes to us from a teacher here. As a public educator to primary students, my school has not closed, and I feel I'm faced with choosing between my family or my job. What are my rights when I feel like I should be in self-isolation? This is a tough question. The embassy cannot advise you in difficult personal decisions like this. I can only suggest that you work directly with the Swedish health authorities or other Swedish authorities, as I'm sure others here have very similar questions and concerns. We also received quite a number of requests and inquiries about test kits and face masks. I want to make sure that everybody understands that the embassy does not administer COVID test kits or face masks. Sweden is currently only testing high-risk individuals, such as those in the hospital, the elderly, or those with pre-existing conditions. Our team recommends that you follow medical professional advice on the effectiveness or the need for wearing a mask. You can always check CDC guidance online or call 11313 to speak with Swedish health authorities. Another question, who do I contact with questions about visas? So we're here today to assist our US citizens in need here in Sweden. Our visas unit are also available to answer questions should you have any questions related to immigrant or non-immigrant cases. Immigrant visa questions can be emailed to stkivinfo@state.gov, and non-immigrant visa questions can be emailed to stknivinfo@state.gov. Again, our consular team will be posting many of these email addresses and websites in our comments section as we go. The final question that was submitted to us that we're going to start with today is, I'm an American citizen living in Sweden, and I'd like to vote in the upcoming presidential election. Can I vote at the embassy using my passport? So this is a timely question, and in fact, we just sent out a message yesterday on this subject. US citizens may register to vote or request an absentee ballot from their voting precinct by visiting the Federal Voter Assistance Program at fvap.gov. Our consular team should be listing these in the comments section as well for you to view at your own leisure. So now, if we have a few moments, I'm going to look through the comments and see if we have any questions that did not get answered. Okay, so Elizabeth asked us, should you travel if you are symptomatic? Again, if you are presenting symptoms that are related to the coronavirus and you're not sure about your status, you can always call 1177 to speak with a health professional and to diagnose your condition. If you think that you may have a communicable disease, we recommend avoiding travel at this time. Thank you. So I think we have time for maybe one more question if I see anything pop up here. All right. So as we're closing in on our time, thank you again for participating in today's virtual town hall. If we didn't have time to answer any of your questions, or if something comes to mind in the future, please email us at stkacsinfo@state.gov, and our consular experts will get back to you as soon as possible. One final reminder that we'll be posting a recording of today's virtual town hall on our embassy website and on our Facebook page. We'll also be taking notes of any questions that did not get answered and provide an answer when possible. Now back to Ambassador Howery.
Thank you, John. And thank you to everyone for joining us in our virtual town hall meeting for U.S. citizens. Stay healthy, take care of each other, and keep washing those hands.